everybody. Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity, and I have an extra special episode for you this time around. I don't know about you, but whenever I hear classic rock being played in stores, on the radio, satellite radio, any of my devices, it almost always seems to include an Eagles song, and especially songs from the early years, like Witchy Woman, songs like that. And when those songs are kicking around, you know right away that one of the guys involved with that song is the band's co-founder, Bernie Leadon. Bernie hasn't been with the Eagles in quite a few years, but he's still recording music and helping people out and working on different projects and such. And for the first time, though, in 20 years, he's got a brand new studio album out entitled Too Late to Be Cool. Phenomenal album. You guys are really going to love it. And Bernie took some time to sit with Boomerocity and chat about this album, the making of it, his friendship, longtime friendship with the legendary Glyn Johns, who produced this record, and some of the issues involved with recording this album. A fun interview. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, especially if you're Eagles fans or Flying Burrito Brothers fan, because he was involved with the Flying Burrito Brothers and he did his own solo work, things like that. So just a special time of talking with a rock and roll legend. While you're listening to it, if you don't mind, would you go ahead and hit like if you're enjoying this interview, and also share it with people. And if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It's not going to cost you anything, but it helps Boomerocity out a lot. So without any further ado, here's my first of what I hope are many more interviews with the legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Bernie Leadon. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Can you see me?
No, I cannot. And I think that's the way you wanted it, wasn't it?
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. No, the deal was with Zoom and my laptops were kind of out of date. And I was having some trouble with getting logged into Zoom in a couple of cases. So but I have two laptops and my phone. As far as I know, they all work with Zoom now. So
all right.
I'm going to become part of the 21st century any day now.
Hey, you're proving yourself wrong. It's not too late to be cool. So, so where are you clicking in from?
Well, I live near Nashville. It's a good place to be for music. The musicians are also good and everything. Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, man, Bernie, first of all, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you're a busy man between new music and your farm you got working and everything else. It's an honor to be able to speak with you, and I want to thank you too for all the years of great music. It's takes up a big part of the soundtrack of my youth. So I thank you for that, because man, every time a song that you were involved in comes on, before I even knew you were involved with it, volume goes up. So thanks for having that impact. So I'll get right to it. How much time do we have? I want to be respectful of your time.
I think it was set for 30 minutes.
Okay, good deal. That's perfect. So it's been over 20 years since you released Mirror. What finally nudged you back into the studio to make Too Late to Be Cool?
Well, so I went on the road with the Eagles on the History of Tour 2013, 2014, 2015, and did 175 shows around the world. And I wanted to kind of keep the creative juices going, when that was over. And I had a bunch of vintage recording gear, and so I wanted to build a new building to put it in so it was like readily available and ready to use. And so it took about 5 years to get that done. And I also knew I'd need songs when I had a recording studio. I'd need songs to record. So I decided to focus on writing more. Instead of just a couple songs a year, I started writing maybe 13 and 14, 15 songs a year. So I had a pile when it came time to choose songs to record, and I gave Glyn Johns about 30 songs, and we cut it down to, I think we recorded 14, 15, and cut that down to 11, so we had enough material, which was really cool.
Very good. Well, the title itself feels both kind of playful and self-aware. In fact, just a minute ago, I kind of played off of it too. So I think everybody will have fun with that title. How did you arrive at that title? Why, and what does it mean to you personally?
Well, a couple of things, but so I have no idea how I came up with it. It just these things just arrive, you know. I don't think I went to the mailbox, so they just, oh, you maybe you woke up with it. I don't know, but I thought it was a cool title, and so I wrote that song. That was really one of the first ones that on the record. That's maybe 8 years old, something like that.
Hmm.
Uh, so so the song. The first part of cool is like teenage cool. So my son was about 13 and he informed that now he was cool and I no longer was cool. So if we have kids, we know about that, right? But then
Hmm.
there's other, but now he does think I'm cool again. Now he's 45 and so he's seen a little bit of life and he thinks his old man's not so bad, you know? Uh, the other meaning to the cool thing is being lukewarm or aloof or detached, you know. And I'm actually kind of saying that's a secondary meaning. It's like too late to be detached, uninterested, standing aside, lukewarm, you know. So
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of like be present and pay attention and live life and be involved, you know, and don't be a wallflower.
There you
That's
go. I love.
that's another band.
Yeah, old Dylan there. I read that the album was tracked live to analog tape, no digital shortcuts, no overdubs, anything like that. First of all, is that accurate? And secondly, if it is, what made you take that purist old school approach to making the record?
Yeah, so it is true. So the reason we did it that way was because that's the way because we're old guys and we've always worked like that. But there's a lot to be said for being, in this case, four musicians in the room together, can see each other and listen and react in real time. And so Glyn Johns really promoted that. We started the record by just me and a drummer, me on acoustic guitar and a drummer. And then I put bass on and we kind of built it from there. But before the album was done, we went back and put keyboard on those two.
Mhm.
But Glenn, in the second batch of recording, he wanted to get a full band in there. And so I just called some more friends that are studio musicians and but great guys like Glenn Worf on bass, who is in Mark Knopfler's band, and
Mhm.
Greg Morrow. Anyway, great players, and Glyn Johns engineering behind the board and making decisions quick. But the other thing was about analog. That's so I had the gears. The short answer on why analog is we had the gear and we liked the sound of it, and nothing against digital, but there's a complication factor that people get themselves into with digital, which or can do if you're not disciplined, is you can do 45 guitars and keep 15 vocals, and we'll sort it out later in the mix, right? But then you get to the mix and you go, what were we doing? And so by working on 16 track analog, you have to make decisions in the moment. So you
Mhm.
have to decide, you know, first of all, is that the take or not? And everybody's on it. So okay, we're pretty far along in this thing. In some cases, I did live vocals on the three or four of these tracks. So what's on the record is the live vocal I sang when we did the track. That's great for the musicians because they can, you know, they're not just reading a chart, you know, they're hearing the guy sing it. And then we actually did a few overdubs. That the story is a little, you know, the story refined itself. Like no overdubs at all, but obviously I played more than one guitar. So we did a few overdubs, and we in a couple of cases the keyboard guy played an acoustic piano and B3 organ, you know. But basically, it's all live in the studio, and certainly it feels that way, and that's the experience of it. And Glenn is such a great engineer, let alone producer, that everything is in its own sonic space, you know. But there's space around the instruments. You can hear that it's in one room, kind of, and you can
Mhm.
but there's a natural space around it. You can kind of hear the room, and so it's it harks back to an earlier type of recording, but you have to have people that can play now live, like, okay, one, two, three, go. Everybody play great now, And so the guys that do it all the time are really a lot better at it. And so
Mhm.
and all the rehearsal and everything was for me. These guys could just come in. I play it a couple of times, they make a chart, and they play it pretty much perfect the first time. Yeah.
Wow. Those kind of musicians always impressed. I'm not a musician, but seeing people that can do that, just, I'm always intrigued and mystified by it all. I just wish I had that kind of brain, but I, I don't, I screw up playing air guitar. That's how bad I am. So,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. But I, no, I get it. It's remarkable when people can do that and they can just, if another idea gets thrown out, like, hey, let's do this, or, they just make a note on their chart and off you go. They don't make a
did you
mistake.
feel like you learned anything from them in that whole process?
Oh, well, you always learn a lot, and especially if it's your songs and your album and you're singing, and yeah, then I'm always learning a lot. I think I've learned a fair amount more about singing. I think I'm a better singer now. The main thing is you have to tell the story in a believable way, right? If it's a story,
Hmm.
it has a story. So it's not so much about the notes, although you have to be relatively pleasant about what you're doing. But the main thing is to have contact with the material and be able to tell a story in a believable way that sounds natural. And so
Hmm.
the sooner you can get to it, the fresher it is and the more natural it is. The longer you do these sort of things, it starts to sound more artificial, and you're really better off
Yeah.
taking a break. Maybe start again another day. But we
Yeah.
didn't have to do that.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
You've already alluded to the fact that you and Glenn have known each other for quite a while. What was it
yeah.
like working with him again after all these years?
Oh, it's well. So I've only made three solo albums, and Glyn Johns produced the first one 45, 40 some years ago. His son Ethan produced the one 20 years ago, and then Glenn did this one too. So I mean, he's a dear friend, and we've worked on a lot of projects through the years together.
Hmm.
So we're very comfortable together and with one another's way of working. And he knows my strengths and weaknesses, and he is good at emphasizing the strengths and de-emphasizing my weaknesses. So it's great.
Cool. Well, each song seems to reflect, from what and correct me again if I'm wrong on this, but it seems like you're reflecting on lessons learned and stories from your life and that kind of thing. Were there any particular moments or memories that shaped the writings of these songs, or was it just kind of like taking it from a general background and seeing what worked?
Yeah, yeah. Like the song "Too Many Memories" was the first single off this, and a lot of people instantly thought, "Oh, that's about the Eagles, or that's about your career," but it wasn't. It was about everything in life, and in that one, the conclusion is whatever it is whatever baggage you're carrying around, maybe it's time to drop the luggage, drop the rock, and and walk away, and let it all go, let it all go. So, yeah, I'm not sure there's too many specific life experiences that were specifically being talked about. It's just just general stuff that I thought that I was interested in, and that I thought might be of some value to somebody.
Yeah. Well, even, I mean, this first time you and I have ever talked, and so before this, all I could glean from what you might be like is what I hear through the songs, right? So
Yeah.
the lyrics on this seem to often balance, say reflection and humor, and like you're looking at life's twists and turns with a, kind of like with a smirk or a grin or something, and I can relate to that.
Yeah.
How important is it that you have a sense of wit and perspective to your songwriting today, as say compared to 40, 50 years ago?
Well, I'm clearly, I think it's obvious I'm a better songwriter than I was, but that's not surprising because I've had a lot more life experiences, right?
Hmm.
And we learn the craft of songwriting, so you can learn how to write a song. But I think really good songs do combine all these things that you mentioned, and thank you for pointing out that there's a bit of wit on the record. I think having a sense of humor as we go through life is important. It's a good way to cope with things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, writing is a lot of fun. It's like a little puzzle. I mean, the American popular song is only 3.5, maybe 4 minutes long. So it's not the structure is known. I mean, you basically have a couple verses, a chorus, maybe a solo, a middle eight bridge, and maybe another verse, but usually chorus out. Bye, see ya. So it's over pretty quick. And a lot of the Beatles' early singles were 2 minutes, 15 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
2.5 minutes. You think, oh, they're going to come back around again. No, because radio was really tight back then. They wanted to have short songs so they'd get played
Yeah.
better. They'd fit between where they are and the commercial better if it's shorter. So get
Hmm.
more plays. I guess that was the deal. But we kind of grew in the 70s into longer story songs. Songs started to be 3.5, 4 minutes, a little over. But we try to work within 4 minutes. And so that's the structure, that's the template. Plug in something. But to
Right.
try to do to try to be interesting musically, interesting lyrically, have a bit of wit, have it. And the Nashville thing is have a twist at the end. I,
Yeah.
I, I'm not good at putting a twist. I don't think it's necessary, but have a nice flow to the song. Pacing a song, the sections is almost like pacing a show where you have an opener. Then you step it down to a middle tempo song, and then you have a ballad, and then there's rock'em sock'em song, and then so you kind of try to pace it, and songs can be that way too.
Hmm.
Uh, it's nice if the English call it the middle eight, that we call it a bridge in the middle, but it's the third section of the song. It only occurs once, and it brings out something a little different. It's like almost like a twist. Like, hey, have you thought about it this way? But if that's really good, that really helps the song a lot in keeping people's interest. And then now we're heading for the barn. A couple
Yeah.
of choruses and we're out of here.
Well, you've worked on a ton of albums and helped a lot of people and that kind of thing. It's probably hard to surprise you these days, but were there any surprises while you were working on this record?
Oh, gee. Perhaps how easy it was with Glenn driving and
Mm.
these guys playing. It was like sitting in a comfortable couch, you know.
Yeah.
It's like sitting in my lazy boy. I mean, not that lazy, but it was just very comfortable. And I'm in my own building. So
Hmm.
I designed it, and the decor and everything suits me. So I mean, but it's just designed to be very comfortable in a place that's going to pull good work out of you.
Hmm.
And in that on that mission, so I built a really nice kitchen, and so my wife did the catering. So we ate well. So I don't know how well we played, but we ate well.
Had to fight a nap after, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know how it is in Nashville, but everybody seems to have a studio, but still everybody's always looking for a studio to record in. With your own studio built now, are you getting people saying, "Hey, Bernie, you know, can
No,
you float me some time?"
no, not really. And I didn't build it to do that. It changes everything. I mean, this is a private space. It's part of my home, really. It's a
Hmm.
separate building, but it's part of my home. And
Hmm.
so I'm not intending to do that. I would do it for Glenn or somebody like that.
Right.
And there probably are a few artists I would do it for, but not for the general public.
Right. Gotcha. Is there, out of all the songs on this album, and I never ask an artist anymore what's their favorite song because it's like asking them to pick their favorite child, and we're not really supposed to do that. But what song would you point to as, well, Chris Stamey said it, he goes, "What's the gateway drug to the album?" Or say the calling card for the album.
Actually, I think going down to Mobile is.
Ah.
Uh, that was one I wrote as we got nearer to doing the batch of sessions with all the musicians. And it's got that swampy vibe, and it's bluesy. It's like country blues in a way, or maybe a little bit Louisiana, as I say.
Louisiana, yeah.
But yeah, and the drummer's from Memphis, and so he kind of puts the pocket back a little bit,
Hmm.
but I love that song, and it's in a funny key. It's for guitar players that would know. It's in the key of B, natural, and so that's not a key that the chord shapes one would think are that easy, but it's not that hard, and
Hmm.
I really enjoyed that. It's a bit of a challenge.
Hmm. What, this is a little off topic from the album itself, but you've seen a lot of changes in the recording side of the business and even in the business side of the business. What do you think, from your perspective, are the best and worst changes, both in the area of recording and in the areas of the business itself?
In the areas of recording, well, as we said earlier, we talked about digital. I mean, with digital, do you have more flexibility. You can keep a lot. There's infinite tracks, for one thing.
Hmm.
But I do think that the analog limitations of only 16 or 24 tracks on analog tape
Hmm.
help you make decisions as you go. So that part, I think, is in analog's favor. The flexibility in editing on digital is far superior because you can just copy and paste like you can with a word processor. You can
Hmm.
copy, you can take a section in a word processor and move it. You can do the
Hmm.
same thing with just a note or a whole section. You can move it, and we did that on one song because I I made the chart on that song for everybody, and I left out one repeat, and so we did a track we loved, but it was one section short. And so we bounced the analog over to the digital, copied it, copied the chorus, flew it in there, and then we flew the whole thing back to a new piece of tape. And that's what's on the record.
I'll be darned. Wow.
Yeah, and what's interesting about the sound is when we flew it back from digital, transferred it back to a new piece of analog tape, it suddenly sounded like the original analog master again. Just
Wow.
something in the warmth, something in the dynamics um, that I can hear and I love. So, that's why we recorded analog because we prefer the sound. Did I answer your question well?
Yeah, yeah, you did. And I
Okay.
hear that a lot from artists who have been in the business a long time. You know, digital is great because, like you said, that flexibility. I mean, I love it with what I do, going in and editing video and, tightening things up, tweaking the sounds, all that kind of stuff. And if I had to do that with regular film, I'd be screwed, right? So because I'm so late in learning this stuff,
Yeah.
but everybody I've talked to that's a musician and been around long enough to know the difference, they all say this, what you just said is that warmth, it can be a pricey process and maintenance heavy and that kind of thing, having to clean the heads a lot and that kind of thing. But it's worth the effort. I keep being told, it's just worth the investment and worth the effort in recording analog.
Yeah, it is quite a bit more expensive now. And one of the things is the price of tape has gone up quite a lot. So
Yeah.
as you can imagine, when tapes started being less popular, less reels were sold. So the companies that made it stopped making it. And
Yeah.
in Europe, the equipment was sold to a couple of already successful companies. It's still being made in Europe by one company and still being made in America by one company. But that's it. It's up to about 400 bucks a reel now. In a project, you might use 15, 20 rolls.
Yeah.
So it's expensive. And you could buy a digital rig for that, for that the
Yeah,
amount
for sure.
of bucks it takes. And the maintenance is pricey too. I have a full-time tech, so I have to pay him. And but I just love it, and so we can afford to do it, and we're fortunate in that. But I also want to talk about the album cover real briefly.
Yeah,
It's behind.
please do. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so that picture was taken by famous Henry Diltz,
yeah.
Dilt, who did all the early Eagles covers, and he did the Mamas and Papas in the Bathroom cover. He did the first Crosby, Stills and Nash cover. He worked for Jackson Brown. He just did all this stuff. So he and the art director, Gary Burden, it was my idea to try to get this shot. We went all over LA trying to find a place to stand where we could get that much of the city lights with me silhouetted. And so it was it was maybe 8, 9 p.m. at night. But he had to do like a 4-second exposure, analog camera back then. And so my face wouldn't be lit up. So the art director was in the bushes with a flashlight, painting my face with light with his flashlight on a 4-second exposure with the shutter open for 4 seconds. So I had to not move, but I love the shot, and so I we made it, and I bought the rights to it for an album that never got finished or released. So I had it laying around, and I'm like, this is too good, man. I have to use this. So, so that's what it is. It's a 45-year-old cover with me
Wow.
with curly hair, and oh, it's probably, 30 years old, 32 years old,
Mhm.
something like that. But we did a back cover that I shot myself just last month at 5:30 in the morning of the crescent moon and Venus right next to it, and
Uh-huh.
and the same color in the sky as that.
Wow.
Um, so it worked out perfect in the front and back covers separated as I am from then by 45 years.
My goodness. Well,
Yeah.
I still miss the days of, albums were events,
Yeah.
and getting a nice vinyl record, running to the record store on the day it was released and picking it up and dropping it on the turntable and reading the cover, everything from cover to cover. I was one of those kind of geeks who produced, who were the session musicians, all that kind of stuff. And to me, when I saw that album cover, in fact, you might find this funny. When I was making this backdrop, I thought, hold it. I think I got a bad copy of this print, digital. So I went out and looked at other sources for the same thing, and it is identical. And I love that worn album cover look to the shot. That it looked. I mean, you can't see it because of the virtual cover here, but I've got all sorts of signed albums hanging in my office. I love collecting them, and it looks like an album I might have already had that I'd say, "Hey, Bernie, would you mind signing?"
Yeah,
So
and that's partly because when this first got sent to the record company, we had this crummy, well, it wasn't a perfect copy of it, right, of the print. And so since then I took the print out of the frame and took it to a graphics artist place, and they cleaned it up, so it's a bit brighter now. And but we did make CDs, and we are probably going to make vinyl.
all right, I got to get one of those. So
Yeah.
what is on your agenda with this album dropping and hopefully everybody starts hearing it and all that? What are your plans in support of this? Are you going to do any shows or anything like
Yeah.
that? What else is going on?
Yeah, so I did a showcase during Americana Fest. It was about
Hmm.
a month ago. We played a 60-minute show with the
Hmm.
guys from the album. So that
Cool.
was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. We rehearsed a bunch, and I had a good time. It felt great. And so we're actually today talking about some holiday dates and talking to an agent about dates probably in March, April, May time frame. Doing maybe like 1 week runs on the East Coast kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to do some shows.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have anything left over? Well, you said earlier you had about 30 songs. Are you already working on plans of following up with from this one
Yeah, so
to a new one?
I have the studio and I have the maintenance guy, and so it's ready. The studio is ready to go today. I'm a little distracted with other things, like talking to friends like you. But no, and I'm continuing to write. So I have maybe written 6 songs since we recorded the album, maybe 7, and
Mhm.
so there'll be plenty of material.
Very good. Very good. When last question, I have a ton more of questions. We could talk for an hour or two easily, but I again, I want to be respectful of your time. But and this isn't meant to be a macabre type of question or anything, but we're within spitting distance of the same age here, and I know I'm much more reflective on life and that kind of thing. And I'm just curious, when you step off of the great tour bus of life up at the great gig in the sky, to kind of swipe a line from Pink Floyd, how do you want to be remembered? What do you hope your legacy is?
Shoot, man. Well, I hope it's obvious that I care, about the music, and I try to do a good job. I mean,
Hmm.
so that basically is it. But I think music is a profound thing, actually. I mean, we make a business out of it, right? And that's fine. But we all got into it because we loved music, and it affected us in the past. It affected us profoundly when we were younger. And it's really it's an emotional transference mechanism. And
Hmm.
so if this is how magic it is. If the songwriter is feeling something, if he comes up with the right words and the right chords, the right feeling to record it with, then it's stored. It's like a live show, except a live show, there's no recorded medium, right? But you
Hmm.
record it, and then people at a later time and date, it could be years in the past, or you're out doing something, I don't know, driving or mowing the lawn or something, and you could run across a piece of music that would profoundly affect you in some way, whether that, makes you excited and happy or reflective yourself. But it's amazing that it can be transferred through the music from the creators to somebody else, delayed. It's a
Hmm.
delaying thing, the recording. So it's a lot like, if you do it well, I mean, I prefer that the recording be more like a live show, and then you can go out and play that stuff for people, and you can sound just like the record because it was you in the first place playing
That's
playing
right.
playing live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Well,
music is an important thing.
to your point about music taking you somewhere, every time I hear Witchy Woman, man, I'm back in high school.
Yeah,
I don't look like it, but I'm back in high school every time I hear the song. So,
yeah,
but
cool.
well, Bernie, this has been a big thrill for me. Thanks so much for taking the time. I really, really do appreciate it. I know this album's going to do very well, and when you do some shows, I hope to catch you at one of them. I'm in East Tennessee. I know you're in Middle Tennessee, so maybe one of those shows I can be able to hop over and catch you, and maybe meet in person and say hi. And if that vinyl copy is out, then I'll get you to sign it so I can hang it on my wall.
Okay, so
So.
you're over by Sevierville, is that right?
Yeah, I'm right in Sevierville. I can hear
Yeah,
when Dollywood's open, I can hear the train whistle. So,
I think that's cool, man.
yeah,
Anyway,
I love it.
yeah, cool. I love Tennessee too. It's great.
So, good deal. Well, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you down the road.
Sounds great, man. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
take care. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.
This has been another fun filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quinton Hope. Quinton is spelled Quinten, and Hope is Hope. And you can find out more about Quinton at quintonhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and/or its assignees. Inquiries should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2025.